Asterisk, the kitchen smelled of rosemary and garlic as I pulled the roast from the oven. My hands trembling slightly inside the red oven mitts Marcus had given me last Christmas. Through the dining room archway, I could see him arranging wine glasses on our mahogany table, its movements precise and deliberate. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the hardwood floors, making everything look like an oil painting, beautiful and slightly unreal. Asterisk 35, looks good on you, Marcus called out, catching my reflection in the antique mirror above the sideboard. His smile was warm, but something in his eyes seemed distant, like he was looking past me rather than at me. Asterisk, I forced a laugh. Liar, I found 3 new gray hairs this morning. It's dexterous, then you're becoming distinguished. He retrieved a bottle from the wine rack, my favorite Bordeaux. The 2015 vintage we'd been saving for a special occasion. The bottle I'd specifically mentioned wanting to open tonight. Asterisk, I should have felt touched. Instead, an inexplicable chill ran down my spine. Asterisk, we'd been married for 8 years, together for 12. Marcus knew everything about me, how I took my coffee, that I read the last page of novels first, that I ugly cried during animal shelter commercials. He knew I'd been dreaming of opening that particular bottle since we bought it during our anniversary trip to Napa 3 years ago. Asterisk, but lately, there had been ... changes. Small things. The way he'd started working late every Thursday. The new password on his phone. How he'd become almost aggressively attentive, showering me with gifts and compliments, as if trying to compensate for something. Asterisk, dinner smells amazing, he said, pouring the wine with practiced ease. The burgundy liquid caught the light as it filled the crystal glasses, both of them equally. You've outdone yourself. Asterisk, I carried the roast to the table, my mind wandering 2 or 3 weeks ago when I'd accidentally picked up his phone thinking it was mine. Before the screen locked, I'd seen a text notification, "Can't wait for Thursday," from a contact saved only as J. Asterisk, when I'd asked him about it, he'd laughed it off. A client, he'd said. Nothing important. Asterisk, Marcus pulled out my chair. Ever the gentleman. As I sat, he positioned himself across from me, the candles between us flickering in an unfelt breeze. He raised his glass and I reached for mine. That's when I smelled it. Wine has a language, notes of cherry, hints of oak, whispers of vanilla. This Bordeaux should have spoken of cassis and tobacco with an undertone of dark chocolate. Instead, beneath the familiar bouquet, there was something else. Something bitter and chemical, like almonds left to rot. My hand froze inches from the glass. Marcus's eyes locked onto mine, his smile unwavering. To you, Claire. Too many more years together. Asterisk, my heart hammered against my ribs. I was being paranoid. Surely. This was Marquez, my husband, my partner. The man who'd held my hand through my father's funeral, who'd supported my decision to quit my corporate job and start my photography business. The man who'd promised, standing under a canopy of cherry blossoms, to love me until death do us part, until death do us part. Actually, I heard myself say, my voice surprisingly steady. I read somewhere that it's bad luck for the birthday person to toast themselves. You should go first. Asterisk, something flickered across his face. Confusion? Alarm? It was gone so quickly I might have imagined it. Asterisk, that's silly, he said, his smile tightening. Come on, before the food gets cold. Asterisk, I insist. I stood, wine glass in hand, and walked around the table. It's my birthday wish. Asterisk, for a long moment, we stood there, the candles casting dancing shadows on the walls. Then, with a laugh that sounded forced even to my ears, I stumbled slightly, letting my glass tip toward his. In the confusion of trying to prevent a spill, I switched our glasses, mine for his for mine. Asterisk, oops, I said, laughing. Clumsy me. Asterisk, Marcus stared at the glass now in his hand. My original glass, and I watched something die in his eyes. Not love. Something harder to name. Maybe hope. Maybe the last vestige of whatever had once been good between us. Asterisk to us. I whispered, raising what had been his glass to my lips. He didn't move, Marcus. My voice came out smaller than intended. Aren't you going to drink? Asterisk, the silence stretched between us like a chasm. Outside, a car passed by, its headlights briefly illuminating the room before plunging us back into candlelight. In that flash of brightness, I saw my husband clearly, really clearly for, perhaps the first time in months. I saw the exhaustion in his eyes, the tension in his jaw, the way his hand trembled slightly as it held the wine glass. Asterisk, I think, he said finally, his voice hollow, that I need to tell you something. Asterisk, I set down my glass. I think you do. Asterisk, he placed his glass, my original glass, carefully on the table, as if it might explode. Then he sank into his chair, his head falling into his hands. When he looked up, tears streaked his face. Asterisk, her name is Jennifer. We met at the conference in Seattle. It meant nothing. I swear it meant nothing. But then she told me she was pregnant. His words came faster now, tumbling over each other. She wanted money, said she'd tell you everything if I didn't pay her off. I couldn't lose you, Claire. I couldn't lose our life together, but I couldn't keep paying her, and she was going to call you today, on your birthday, to tell you everything, and I just... I couldn't see a way out. Asterisk, I should have felt shock, horror, betrayal. Instead, I felt a strange, distant calm, as if I were watching this scene happen to someone else. Asterisk, so you thought you'd kill me instead. The words sounded absurd even as I said them. Asterisk, I thought if you were gone, I could start over. The insurance money would pay Jennifer off. I could grieve, move away, pretend to be the devastated widower. He laughed bitterly. God, listen to me. What kind of monster have I become? Asterisk, I looked at the wine glass on the table, its poisoned contents still gleaming in the candlelight. I thought about all the Thursday nights, all the little lies, all the moments when I'd sensed something wrong, but had convinced myself I was being paranoid. Asterisk, you became the kind of monster who would poison his wife's favorite wine on her birthday. I said quietly. Asterisk, Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone, placing it on the table between us. I'm going to call the police. I'll tell them everything. I'll face whatever consequences come. Asterisk, will you? I asked. Or will you claim you're having a breakdown? That you never went through with it? That it was all just a terrible thought you'd never have acted on? Asterisk, he looked at me with hollow eyes. I switched the glasses, Claire. When I stumbled, I was going to drink it myself. I couldn't do it to you. Asterisk, I stared at him, trying to detect the lie, but seeing only a broken man who'd painted himself into a corner with his own selfishness and cowardice. Asterisk, maybe, said, standing up and walking to the phone on the wall, the landline we'd kept for emergencies. Or maybe I switched them back when I hugged you after you stumbled. Maybe you'll never really know. Asterisk, I didn't look back as I dialed 911. Behind me, I heard Marcus begin to sob deep, wrenching sounds that might have moved me once. Asterisk, outside. The sunset painted the sky in shades of crimson and gold, beautiful and indifferent. Somewhere in the house, a clock struck 6. Asterisk, happy birthday to me, I thought, and waited for the operator to answer. Asterisk, the wine remained on the table, untouched by either of us, its secrets still swirling in crystal glasses, a toast never taken to a future that would never be.